I have a S1r baton. This guy, a little short guy with a 16340 battery. I've got a S2r baton. Got the Warrior Mini. And I got the M1t Raider Plus. And these are 4 pretty different lights, but they actually are almost exactly the same in how they throw and portray the light out of the front, out of the beam, out of the head. Let's stand them up so you guys can see, and you can stand these 3 up. Obviously you can't stand the M1t Raider up because it has that exposed, tail cap button. I'll just hold it there so you guys can see. There's 2 main differences I see with these 4 lights. And I noticed this, that on the S1r baton, the ring around here, that blue protective ring, it actually meets up with the frame at the right spot. I mean, in my personal preference, that's where it should be. It's almost like I feel like they use a lot of the same parts in some of these lights, these smaller lights, and like it looks like all 4 of these, the lens seems like it's almost exactly the same. I'm pretty sure it's the same LED. I'm not sure if they all use the exact same LED. Obviously the lumens are different because based off the battery power. Like I said, you get a 16340 in here. You get a 18650 in the S2r baton. It's 3200 milliamps. You get a 18650 in the Warrior Mini that is 3500 milliamps. And this one, the M1t Raider Plus, it takes 2 CR123As, and you cannot slide an 18650 in there. It's too thin. It's solely designed for 2 CR123As. However, I did some research, and apparently you can fit a 16650 in there, rechargeable battery. And from the videos I saw, it does work, and Olight doesn't advertise that, but it might be something interesting to try out because it really does eat through the disposable CR123A batteries. But yeah, these 4 lights are actually extremely similar in how they throw their beam. And I'm just gonna turn them on turbo right now and just show you. You can kind of see, double click. Also, the way that the S1r and then the S2r turn on, they do a fade on. When you double click, you'll see it fade on, which is kind of cool. Whereas the Warrior Mini, it's instantaneous, just like the Warrior. It seems like it has very similar programming to the Warrior Pro. It's almost like so quick when you turn on that turbo on the side button. It's like almost like it's reading your mind. It's pretty crazy. And that's one thing I noticed on the Warrior Pro. And then for the M1t Raider Plus, the first click will always turn on to the highest setting. So these 3 lights, the S1r, the S2r, and the Warrior Mini, they have the same function essentially, other than a couple minor differences. You can see the beams here, they're all really similar. You get 1000 lumens, I believe, with the S1r, 1150 for the S2r. You get 1500 for the Warrior Mini, and 800 for the M1t Raider Plus. And like I said, like I showed you, if you look at the lenses, they're designed very similarly. If not, they're exactly the same. If you feel inside there, they're kind of convex, and there's a little hump where the LED is, and they seem very similar, if not exactly the same. And maybe they do use these parts across the board, but the design, I like the design of the S1r, and apparently the Baton Pro, which I don't have, also has the design of the ring that meets up with the frame, and it covers it from the top. Because if you look at the S2r or the Warrior Mini, the heads are very similar, other than the ring is different. The heads go inside of the frame, and the frame sits around it, which to me that's opposite. And I feel like they might be using parts across the board interchangeably. Maybe that's how it ended up like that. I feel like if they were to design this without reusing other parts from other different lights, maybe it wouldn't do that. Because if you can see on the Warrior Mini, the frame is beat up quite a bit, and it's not as beat up on the S2r, mostly because the S2r tail stands quite a bit better because it's completely flat, whereas on the Warrior Mini you have 3 pegs, obviously because you have the stainless steel button back there, and it tipped over. It has tipped over so many times. I mean, look at that. It's just not wanting to stand up. This is a flat surface right here, and it just takes a little bit. If it's on a table and you bump the table, definitely it's gonna fall over. And also, yeah, I mean, I feel like if that ring was on the outside or meeting up just like how the S1r is, that it'd be wouldn't be so thrashed. But also the M1t Raider Plus, because it is a slimmer light, you know, it takes two CR123As disposable. It's like they use the same lens, but then because it doesn't see, it just tipped over again. Because it doesn't have to be as wide, they were able to design it how it should be with that ring bezel that meets up with the frame, just like the S1r. This one's just a little bit crenulated, sticking out slightly, and it is a little bit more aggressive than the Warrior Mini. I like this bezel a lot more. And yeah, obviously it doesn't tail stand like I said. This is a pretty basic light. M1t Raider has 3 settings. It goes high, low, and then the third momentary press would be strobe. These 3 lights operate the same. Press and hold. When it's off, we'll go to moonlight. And also, you'll note when it's on moonlight, the side button doesn't light up. When it's on low, medium, high, turbo, the side button will light up. From moonlight, if you press and hold, it will step up to low, and that side light, the button light, will come on. So let's put all these on low. Then obviously the next click will be press and hold will be medium, press and hold will be high. So we'll put on high, press and hold medium, high. Press and hold for medium, high. Now something I noticed on the S2r, which is kind of a cool feature, is when it's on low, medium, high, or turbo, you can bounce back down to let's see, if you double click, it'll go turbo, but if you double click again, it'll drop down. Okay, so what if you turned it on moonlight, double click to turbo, and that light comes on, and double click again, it'll go back to that last setting, which would be moonlight. Now that light is still on the S2r. That's kind of cool, because on the Warrior Mini, if you turn it on moonlight, not on, go to turbo, it's on, and double click, it will go back to the last setting, which is moonlight. It turns off. Yeah, obviously it has different programming. I don't know if I've tried that with the S1r, so let's try it. Let's go to moonlight, double click for turbo, and then double click again. I think it's the battery life is throwing it out. Obviously it does not hold the battery charge as well, but nonetheless, when it's on moonlight, the light doesn't come on. Obviously the M1t Raider Plus does not have a side button. It's just that rear button, 3 modes. This is more of a light I would hand to somebody that is not familiar with flashlights. Although that first initial setting, that higher turbo, is pretty bright. Even though it's 800 lumens, for me, my personal use, using these 4 lights, they all throw very similarly, almost exactly the same. Obviously, it does feel like this might be a little bit brighter, the Warrior Mini, than say like the S2r. Apparently the candela is about double, about 4,500 and 9,000 for the Warrior Mini. So double the candela, 350 more lumens, but it seems still very similar. Just using it around the house, using it outside, walking the dog, going out in the car at night and stuff like that. These 4 lights all throw very similarly. So there's my video, my thoughts on these Olights. Thank you. Bye.